It's not looking good for Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's nominee to be Secretary of Defense. At one point during his confirmation hearing that is going on right now, we're going on today. I don't know if it's wrapped up by the time you see this. He referred to himself in his opening remarks as not having the qualifications to be Secretary of Defense, talking about how they normally pick generals or admirals or something, people in much higher positions. I believe he was just a major in the National Guard. But he said it's time for somebody with dust on their boots to end up being in charge of the Defense Department. And that didn't sit well for him. I don't know if that gained him any support in Congress with that. And then it was brought up that in Vanity Fair, he did an interview with them back in 2024, and he referred to himself as an effed up individual, talking about how he cheated on his first wife. I think it was 5 different times. Might have been his second wife, I'm not sure. And about basically how his moral compass is, and he referred to himself as an effed up individual, which doesn't sit well. And then another Senator Duckworth, was asking him questions about the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. There we go. I knew I'd get the acronym at some point. Countries, and said, can you name at least one country in that alliance, in that military and economic alliance? And he's like, well, we have allies in South Korea and Australia and Japan, and we have very close ties with them. And Senator Duckworth goes, not one of the countries you mentioned are in that alliance. Now, I don't remember everybody that is in that alliance, but a couple of them are Vietnam and the Philippines and Indonesia. And we do a lot with those member countries defensively. It's a big part of our defense strategy against China. And Pete Hegseth had no idea what they were talking about. So he kind of embarrassed himself today. Don't know if that's going to be enough to stop his confirmation. I don't think he gets through the Senate. Ultimately, just because the senators, as I've talked about in numerous videos, have to go back and get reelected, and it's very hard to do that when you support a guy like Pete Hegseth, who's wholly unqualified. He even admitted he doesn't have the qualifications to be Secretary of Defense, at least not the ones we'd normally expect. So we'll see if he gets through. I don't think he will. And that's the thing you're going to see with a lot of Donald Trump's nominees. They're going to embarrass themselves in these hearings. I know some senators and some members of the Republican Party were trying to get people like Hegseth to back out before these hearings went underway to avoid this kind of embarrassment. But obviously they didn't listen. They couldn't get through to Donald Trump. So now even Republicans are going to have to embarrass these people publicly. And it's in part just because they don't have the actual knowledge that they want people to think they should have.